Good morning, darlings. Welcome to this week's episode of Look What Meg Found. I know you're expecting the weekly recap, but guess what? Y'all know better than to expect things with me. I don't do what you expect. I've actually brought someone with me today. This is Carla Gardiner. She is the fiery grandma, and trust me, y'all, you're going to love her. Carla and I have actually met probably about a year, kind of been interacting behind the scenes, and we got to talking one day because I have health issues. None of them are major. None of them are life-threatening, but I do have health issues, and we were talking about things that we could do, things that I could do to make them better. And along that conversation came a much greater understanding of what Carla does. I knew from outside looking in that she worked with multiple MLM companies, and I knew that one is DoTerra that I love. I already know that I love them. The other is IDLife, which I knew absolutely nothing about, but I do have weight gain from sitting in an office all day. I do have fatigue from running 1,000,000 miles a minute every day. So we got to talking about how to fix that. And I can sit here and read all the information off the cards, or I can let Carla tell you guys why I have these products in my hands to use. So Carla, it is all yours.
Well, good morning, and thanks so much for having me on. There's nothing I love better than talking about what I do because it's why I'm here today. Now, what I mean by that is these products literally saved my life, and I'll give you a short snippet of my story. So I've always been, since I've been in high school, and I know many people can relate to this, I've been what they call a yo-yo dieter. And it sets our bodies up for a really bad crash at some point. Because it's like you just can't eat ho-hos and dum-dums and coffee and think that you're going to be a marathon sprinter. Right?
Yes.
It just doesn't work. So what happened was 5 years ago, I am sort of a workaholic. I got done with work, went out, sat on the couch, and started snacking as I was watching TV. And I don't know what was different that night than any other night, but a light bulb went off, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now, let me back up a minute. I was selling weight loss coffee at the time. That magic bullet. All you have to do is drink this cup of coffee and lose weight. As I sat at 10 o'clock at night, stuffing my face with garbage, and the light bulb went off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, nothing is going to change until I change what I'm doing. There's no magic bullet. That started my journey to research, to find a community that could teach me the truth about my body, real food, and what supplementation is and isn't.
Okay.
So, I mean, and the education I got was phenomenal. So I wasn't just handed a pill and say, take this and you'll lose weight. They sent me to different videos to learn about why I shouldn't be eating grain, why I shouldn't be eating processed food. What does it do to our body and why is it bad? And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I got angry because of what it's doing to our kids. We could be here forever. Anyway, so, and I get really passionate about it, you can tell. But,
and that's why I was so attracted and drawn to you, is that it's not just, here's a product, buy it, this works. It's, let's find out what works, and you have so much passion behind it.
Yeah, well, and here's why. I was part of the thing that spurred me to want to learn and make changes at 58 years old was this. I've always been sickly, always. but now it had escalated to pre-diabetic, sleep apnea, chronic acid reflux that was destroying my esophagus, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, severe allergies and asthma. I mean, it went on and on and on. So fast forward a year following this program, and it's not just the IDLife. It's not just the essential oils. It's the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
I lost 70 pounds, but that wasn't the kicker. Uh-oh, I'm sorry, my dog's going off here. But it was that I lost true fat. My body resculpted itself. I have never, I was thinking back to high school, I've never worn a size 12, ever. I think I went from a whatever to a 16. I was in a 16 forever. And then at my highest, I was pushing a 22 women's. And it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going up another size. So anyway, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I got so many compliments. I didn't have to go to grandma's section to buy clothes. I could now, but I mean, you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. In high school, I was a size 0 pants. I wore size 0s. I was a tiny little thing. Then I got pregnant. I lost a pregnancy that wrecks your whole hormonal, mental, everything. Then I got pregnant again. Had a kid. Never, I always teasingly call it my baby weight because I never lost it. When I got pregnant with my youngest, I gained 80 pounds. That's on me. That's because I was eating like crazy. I know that. I used pregnancy as an excuse to put food in my face. But I've still never lost that weight. But I don't ever want to see a size 0 pants again. But I'd like to get back down to single digits.
Mm-hmm. And it's possible, and it's not hard, but you have to have the right guide to teach you the right way. There's so many things out there that are just so wrong. And it's, excuse the expression, it's screwing up the body's systems, and they're going to have long-term repercussions that aren't going to be pretty.
That makes sense.
You know, and here's the deal. It has nothing to do with any product. It has to do with the food we consume incorrectly for our body's systems. It's understanding. They didn't teach this stuff in high school in science, and they should. Mm-hmm. They should teach us, excuse me. Part of my magic is in here, and they can get this in those remarkable secrets I was telling you about. So, what was I talking about?
The fact that we're not consuming food the way that we're supposed to consume food.
Yes. So I'm going to tell a cute, funny, but very serious little story here. So our body is like a car. It's a machine. Mm-hmm. All machines run on either electricity or some type of fuel. For the human body, that fuel is real food. Our bodies were designed to run on the amino acids and the proteins found in animals, vegetables, berries, and real nuts. Now, I say real nuts, you're thinking you're nuts because nuts. No, peanuts aren't nuts.
No,
they're legumes, and they're bad for your gut. And so when you put processed foods into your body, think about what processed means. It means they are chemically processed. So you're ingesting poison that interferes with all of the perfect chemistry within your body. So back to the car. So you go to the gas station to put gas in the car. You fill it up and you drive around the block one time and you pull back into the gas station to put more gas in it. What happens?
The tank stays full, but honestly, you didn't use that much out of the tank to begin with if you only went around a block.
Right. Doesn't it overflow onto the ground?
Yes.
That, when we are eating and aren't hungry, that's why we have muffin tops. That's why we gain weight. We're sedentary, first of all. That's how I gained 100 pounds, was coming home to work. It just is what it is. And we aren't using the fuel that we've put in there, emptying the tank, and then filling back up. We're constantly topping off, and the body just it shuts down. And so then it stores all that gunk, and there you go, an obese nation.
That makes sense. I saw a lot of changes happen. I guess it was about 8 years ago, I decided to overhaul our kitchen. I went away from a lot of processed. I still buy my cheese already made in the store, but I don't use Kraft singles. I use a closer to a more natural, more whole product. And just making a few tweaks, throwing out all the margarine and going to butter, going away from Kraft singles to a closer to fresh made product. And still in the store, it's still not as fresh as it could be. But those tweaks made huge changes. Just changing the way I cooked changed the amount of food that we ate. When I started making, chicken Alfredo from scratch, not using the box mix, you don't eat as much of it. So it's interesting. That is a really good point. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I found out that, have you ever heard of nutrient dense food?
Yes.
So when I first started this, I plated my food like she told me to do. And I looked at that and I said, "You're crazy. I'm going to die." But the thing was this, the amount, there's science behind it. First of all, I started with an assessment because every single person walking the planet of the earth is different.
Mm-hmm.
No, there are no two, even identical twins aren't identical. They have different DNA. So to think, and this blew me away. Let me go back to the plate. Sorry, I get off on rabbit trails. So the amount of protein, the amount of vegetables prepared with healthy fat, i.e. real butter, no corn oil, no canola oil, no vegetable oil, none of that stuff. It's all, you would die if you knew what those things are for. They were made during the war to lubricate the machinery.
Yeah, and how we eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I got done with my plate, and I'm not a meat eater, I actually could go vegetarian real easy, but I've learned I don't want Alzheimer's. I don't want dementia. And the only place our bodies can get the amino acids to keep our brain healthy is in animal meat. Can't get it out of vegetables. You can't get it out of a pill either.
That makes sense. I hadn't made that click, but yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, yeah. So by the time I finished eating that meal, I was so full, I didn't eat until noon the next day because I had learned to pay attention to the signs of hunger versus dehydration. Most of the time when we think we're hungry, we're not. We're just thirsty.
Yeah.
So now I was going to tell you something else. Did I give you a clue?
We were going to talk about your friend with keto.
Yes. So many, in what we do, there's no one diet that works for everyone. Because we're all unique, we have to get to the bottom of who you are, how you live, your whole environment, your whole medical history, your family, all of it. That gives us a clue into how you should be eating, just like your ancestors did. So there's diets like paleo, keto, ancestral, carnivore. Everyone fits in there somewhere, but we have to figure out which one is right for you. Well, I have this friend that is doing keto, but she buys everything processed. Number one. So
yeah, definitely.
And the marketers just irritate me because I'm a marketer, but I also market in truth. And so I don't get a lot of business because people don't want to hear what I have to say. And that's the truth. But I'm living proof of the truth.
Yes.
I'm not losing my hair. I don't have wrinkles. And I don't use fancy foo-foo stuff. I use what nature gave us. And I'm 64. The proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
Right? So in the grocery store, they have these aisles of keto-friendly, gluten-free. No, they're not.
No, they're really not.
No. And the thing is, the FDA gives certain guidelines that food manufacturers can get away with. And this is what they have to have on the label. Doesn't mean it's true.
Yes.
So when you go 100% gluten-free, it means you're eating real food. You're not eating anything with grain, which means, and this was a killer for me, no bread, no crackers. And all I saw in the beginning was, oh, what am I going to eat?
I get that. I eat limited carbs. I won't say that I go no carb, but I eat, when I do eat carbs, when I do eat bread, it's because I stopped at the local bakery that I know very well, that I know. I don't know their ingredients because I'm not in their kitchen, but I know it's as close to real as you can get without growing the wheat and grinding it yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's where my carbs come from. And I may have a slice or two during the week. I still eat baked potatoes. I still eat rice, things like that, but in limited quantities. But one of the first things I did when I started looking at dieting was go, okay, diet food's off the table. You know, if I'm trying to clean up my diet, why am I going to eat a whole lot of really processed food? Because it's not going to help. Mm-hmm. I might lose the weight now, but it's not going to stay off when I stop eating.
Yes. And speaking of that, I did a program years ago. I don't even know if they're still out there. It was called, maybe I better not say it. Anyway, it was prepackaged. And this is what attracted me. It was grab and go meals. Okay. And it was medically backed. Oh, well, I lost the weight, just like you said. Mm-hmm. But guess what happened at the end? When I transitioned off, I was so sick. I had so many health issues because of all the garbage in there. And my hormonal system was soy-based. Mm-hmm. My hormones were whacking out. It was horrible. And within 6 months, I gained all of the weight back. had spent thousands of dollars on that prepackaged garbage food, and plus 50.
Oh, yeah.
And the inflammation in my body was just horrid.
And I hear that a lot from people who go on the, I want to say pre-structured, the heavily marketed, here we'll make it easy plans, is that it's not, they are a quick fix. If you need to lose 20 pounds to fit in a dress and you don't care what happens after you wear the dress, then it will do. But when it comes down to making healthy lifestyle choices, to choosing to lose weight because it's good for your health, you have to, it's not a diet anymore. Now it's a lifestyle. Now, how do you change your everyday life? I mean, if I need to lose 5 pounds to fit in something that's a little snug, I can juice fast for 3 days. I'll lose the weight. It'll come. I'll be able to zip the dress up. It'll look fantastic. And in another 3 days, I'm going to have gained 8 pounds.
Well, here's the thing with that. And it's a mindset shift that comes with the education. That 5 pounds that you lost was all water.
Exactly.
You didn't lose any fat cells at all. And when we lose weight, we want to lose fat. And what that means is we don't want to lose it. I mean, like losing your car keys. We want our body to burn it as fuel so it goes away. Now, the difference and why that matters is this. I better be careful on this because this could get hairy. So I'm going to be generic here. Take people who have gastric bypass. I had a family member who did. And we were doing it at the same time. We were losing weight at the same time. When we both got to, I have not yet gotten to my goal. My goal is a size 10. So I've got probably, well, I don't know. Because of how this works, it's not the same. You can't attach 30 pounds to a pant size. Right. Because your body sculpts itself. So, but with her, she got to the goal weight for a medical purpose. And then I started noticing after she had the medical thing done, she went the other way. And I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I don't like how I look." And I said, what does that mean? And she said, she lost it so fast.
Yep.
That she had all of this skin.
Yes. And when you lose weight at a slow, progressive way, your body does resculpt and you don't wind up with a lot of really loose skin. Now, that being said, there are people who have gastric bypass for complete medical reasons. It has to be done. I get that 110%. But it does lead to further, I won't say complications because you've lost the weight, but it opens you up to not being happy with how you look. It opens you up to possibly more surgeries if you choose to have plastic surgery to remove the excess skin. There's a lot of risks that go into that.
And the thing is, from a scientific point, and this isn't picking on those decisions at all. I stick strictly to the science. Removing the part of the stomach that is removed or stapled is where the nutrients are absorbed.
Yes. That is true. And I know a lot of people I know that have gone through that have a lot of struggles with being able to keep their nutrition levels where they need to be able to survive. And I mean, again, nobody's knocking it. A lot of people do it for because they have to, but there's definitely things to look at when you decide that I'm getting gastric bypass surgery or any form of weight loss surgery. you have to look at what does my aftercare look like, because you're not going to go back to eating the way that you were. You're not going to be able to get all of your nutrition through food. And that's the thing I don't think a lot of people look at.
No. Well, the thing is, I say this, you don't know what you don't know till you don't know it.
That is very true.
You know, and I wish I had known when I was in my 20s what I know now. And I know hindsight is 20/20, but I would have raised my kids totally different as far as how I fed them. Because they were active, they were into athletics, but man, all we did was the drive-through. You know, it was garbage food.
Oh, definitely. Definitely guilty of that one.
Yeah. But then, you know, about 10 years ago, when I was in the yo-yo dieting thing, that where the essential oils came in, is I had no motivation. I knew my health was headed in a bad direction. And I was just like, well, what am I going to do about it? I can't afford to do this, or I can't afford to do that. So what I discovered were the properties of essential oils, the difference between big box store oils that are, you know, $5 a bottle and it does the same thing. Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No, it really doesn't. There's definitely a difference. And I've been an essential oil user for a very long time. And you're right. The doTERRA products themselves are just side-by-side effectiveness, the things I use them for. I break all the rules. I apply them directly to my skin, with the exception of 2 oils that I have done the wrong way. Let me tell you, that was not fun. But I was the idiot that took cinnamon bark oil, and went straight up my throat because I was congested and trying to break it up. I learned real quick how you remove essential oil from your skin that night. But I break all the rules. I apply to my skin. And I can tell you that just doTERRA, as opposed to the drugstore brands, it's much more potent. I get, 2 drops of doTERRA versus, 8, 9, 10 drops. And when you look at it that way, it's a matter of how much are you actually spending if you have to use 5 times the product.
Yes. Yeah. And when I looked at adding them to how I help people, it just made so much sense, because as women, our emotions are all over the place, and it varies from morning till afternoon, and me included. When we work with people, we take on part of that energy, and it can have you like this roller coaster. And I have essential oils going in every room of my house. And it has helped the grandkids. It has helped my hubby. Yesterday, we always start sneezing and get congested when he mows the lawn. And I said, you know what? Let's experiment. Let's take some of this before you go out there. I was so excited, and why I hadn't thought about it sooner. But we always react rather than be proactive.
Yes. Definitely guilty of that.
And it worked. It worked. And I love learning anything to do with my health and my body. And I love sharing what I learn. So there you go. That's what I did.
Yeah. And I'm really excited with the samples you sent me. We're going to start playing with those today. I waited until we had our interview. I didn't dive right in the boxes. I wanted to make sure I didn't have any questions on them. But I'm really excited. You sent me the slim. hydrate. There it is. I put everything on my desk and I've been sitting here playing with it. And now I'm like, wait, where'd I put everything? Hydrate. This lean really intrigues me. That is definitely going to be tried. And I like the idea of a fast-acting energy formula because if anyone follows me, if anyone has had a 5-minute conversation with me, they know that coffee is life. Coffee makes me happy. So I am definitely a caffeine addict who's trying to scale back the coffee due to gastrointestinal issues brought on by, shock, surprise, the acid in coffee. And I really can't wait to dive into the sleep strips, but I'm going to have to be careful when I use those because I am the queen of 4 or 5 hour naps and then back up and at it again. So that sounds like a weekend thing. That sounds like a try it Friday night when I don't have to get up on Saturday. So if I sleep in, it doesn't matter. And I am about to go do the shake because I have yet to find a protein shake that I can actually stand to drink. And you know what I mean by that. You've been down this road. You have probably tried as many, if not more than I have, trying to find something that's palatable because yes, it's good for you. Mm-hmm. But if it tastes like I scraped the bottom of the garbage can, I don't care how good for me it is. It's going in the garbage can.
Yeah, there was one company. It's a big, big company with workouts and all that. Mm-hmm. I tried my best to like their shakes. Mm-hmm. It tasted like I was out in the pasture.
Oh, yeah.
It was just gnarly. It was.
Gotten a hold of those and you're like, okay, I know it's good for me, but if I want this taste, I can go graze in the backyard, Yeah. 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 You and I are on the same page there. You fuel for a purpose. I get that. Sometimes we eat the good things because they have no purpose because they are good for you. When it boils down to it, food is fuel and it needs to serve a purpose rather than just being, oh, good, it's a Twinkie. Twinkies serve a purpose though, just for the record. Twinkies.
I know. Speaking of that shake, I want to give you a tip.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if I sent it in the instructions. When you drink a smoothie or a shake, either one, they are full of nutrients if you read the package. However, your body will not utilize those nutrients if you don't first chew. You have to start the digestive process. When you do that, you notice the letdown of saliva.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that I had not made that. It's a smoothie. You drink it. Everything happens in your stomach. You're right. Mm-mm. You are right on that one.
Your saliva it's the only place those acids are found. If you don't begin the activation here, you might as well not eat.
That makes really good sense. I literally had not made that connection. And I mean, I am by no means a medical expert, but I spent a lot of time learning about how the body works, why the body works. And I had not made that connection there at all. Oh, this has been fun. Thank you so much for coming to talk with me this morning.
You're welcome.
I am really excited about this. I am going to try everything because that is me. I try everything. And then I will do a recap on this with my thoughts on the products. Mm-hmm. And I will also get you the link to this interview so that you can share it. And for all our people who are tuning in, there is a link in the description box. If you are on Facebook, the description box is there. If you're watching us on YouTube, the description box is there. That has a link to Carla's, and I done forgot the name. Which link is there?
I think it's the Remarkable Secrets for Women Over 50.
That's it. It's the Remarkable Secrets for Women Over 50. But hint, I'm going to give you guys a real quick hint here. You don't have to be over 50 for these to work for you. And darlings, I will be back next week. I'm going to drag Carla along on this adventure with me more often. This is fun. Bye, darlings.
Thank you very much. Bye.